the conversation between Max and George has been interesting because obviously the most inflammatory conversation or press clip is Max in the press conference afterwards saying, that George wasn't, that he's not the guy he portrays himself to be, that he couldn't believe that another driver would try to screw him like this. And I texted you yesterday and said, listen, man, here's how I feel. He's heated, but every driver would screw their own grandmother if it got 2 extra, 3 extra points. Over, important word there. Yes. That's how these guys operate. Like Max coming in here and acting like, oh man, I would never, I can't believe he would do that. I mean, Max, come on, the rule book front to back and back to front for a reason. It's so you can screw other guys, right? It's so you can go, hey, you guys might not remember this, but I do. You should look up chapter 6.3.6. Do you know what I'm saying? It's kind of an important detail for Max.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Adam. And you know what? All these drivers are going to do whatever they can to get an advantage on each other. Yes. Especially on the racetrack. I mean, that's fair game out on the track. So Max, asking the team to check to see if Lando lifted. That also goes back to Brazil when everybody peeled away on that formation lap when they shouldn't have because there was was a yellow flag at that point, or was it red flag at that moment? I think it was red flag at that moment. But everyone left, and Max again, hey, we're not supposed to leave. And then there's the point at which you enter the steward's office and you both have to speak with the stewards. And the way Max had put it is George did everything he could to throw Verstappen under the bus, right? And Max should be upset. I mean, he has every right to be upset about that, for sure. And George, I think, has every right to do whatever it was he did. Now, I'm not in the steward's office, so I have no idea. But at the end of the day, we have to understand what happens within the steward's office. What lengths can you go to really put pressure on the stewards to make a decision in your favor, right? How does that work? I mean, none of us have actually ever really have been in the steward's office.
There's no cameras.
So we don't really know, right? But Verstappen feels so strongly about it. I mean, then there must have been something in there that he did not like, because he is pretty vocal about things like that, right?
Well, and George and Max are pretty friendly off track from everything we've heard. But I mean,
he pulled him aside, I think, during the driver's parade and gave him a piece of his mind. So,
wow.
There's that. So
wow.
He wasn't happy. He was not happy about that.
And that's what this sport is, right? That's kind of the fun of it, is that the drivers are going to do that, and they are going to get mad at each other, and it's entertaining, Tim. That's the whole point.
Well, I mean, it's entertaining for us. I mean, not for them, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's not entertaining at all. But again, you need to have a conversation with somebody, and these drivers aren't necessarily always open to seeing each other. And so when do they get to see each other? They get to see each other at the driver's parade. They get to see each other at the driver's briefing. That usually happens on a Friday. And so the driver's parade doesn't happen until a Sunday, and something has already happened on a Saturday. So if you need to have a conversation with somebody, driver's parade's when you do it.
The pickleball games are going to get way more intense. That's all I got to say. Because you got, Albon's probably in there well, nobody else likes each other here. George, Lando, and Alex and Max all play together. And good boy, some dust ups.
But also it's it's foreshadowing too for us. I mean, what happens next season?
Well, and George said last week, isn't it funny, Tim? George said last week it's about time somebody gave Max a good test. And I thought that's a little bit of a shot at Lando, right? Yeah, a little bit of shot at McLaren, a little bit of a shot. Hey, Max, I'm coming. And I wonder if part of this is Max getting going back off, and also knowing that Mercedes are catching up. And it's just that much harder. Max is the best driver on the grid. There's no question about that. But Mercedes could have one of the fastest cars next year. And in 2026, if the rumors are to be believed, they have the best engine.
Yeah. And that makes it exciting for us, our standpoint, two drivers who don't like each other anymore, which there's been a falling out by the looks of it. I mean, that's just
how long will it last?
Gravy, Adam. It's gravy.
Oh, it's great. Love a little bit of love, some friendship, love some anger. It's a little bit of good, a little bit of both. And I think that Max caring that much is like he's already won. He already won. But him caring that much goes to show why he's in the position he's in. Because it's not about you already won. It's about I don't care. I'm going to win it anyway. And he did.
Yeah, he was fantastic. I honestly didn't think Red Bull was going to be that good this weekend. And
one of them wasn't.
Yeah, one of them really wasn't. And Max was, again, I think, flattering the equipment that they have. Like, just so good when he needs to be. They started off that weekend, again, poorly. Like, same thing with Abu Dhabi. Right, same exact circumstances where it was a bit of a struggle. Like, well, Las Vegas was a big struggle.
Oh yeah,
I mean Qatar. I mean, not as much so, but still, there was a struggle. And then it just took Max again finding the right balance, and extracting whatever performance was in the Red Bull at the time. And that's just the way it is. I mean, even Lando Norris said that he felt he threw away a victory. He felt that they had the fastest car this weekend. And I actually agree with him. Like, the McLaren in clean air was, I would say, the faster car. It was. Wow.
And it's just Max being Max, right?
Totally.
Now, when it comes to this race, team principal Christian Horner called George Russell, quote, hysterical. He said, no, look, I think the penalty was more based on the hysterics from George, who has been quite hysterical this weekend. But, that's unfortunately, I think that was a bit of gamesmanship going on. Now, you're talking about hate. Maybe George and Max have a big rivalry next year. Are you ready for a Toto Christian Battle Royale Volume 2?
Give it to me.
Yeah? Like, listen, I know Zach and Christian have sort of traded barbs, but Toto and Christian, it's just classic, right?
It's pretty entertaining.
Yeah. It's like, there's just something about the two of them that they're like, oh, I really like, they like each other, but they also love to poke each other.
Yeah. And I think like that rivalry being sort of renewed for next season is exciting, right? Like this, I mean, George and Max going back and forth. I mean, at the end of the day, Max was the one who won, right? George didn't. Like, Max was the one who came out on top, even though he got a penalty, lost pole position. He still came out on top. And heading into turn 1 in Qatar, Adam, at the start of this race, I was glued to my seat because I just knew that Max was just so fired up that he was going to send it in. And whatever happened was going to happen. And it was, how late is George going to break? I'm going later.
Right.
That's exactly what happened. And it was a great pass. It turned into an incredible move. And for George, I mean, poor pit stop, right? That sucks. Bad pit stop. Maybe the tire choices towards the end, not ideal, but still George was extremely strong. And that's got me really excited for next year, Adam. Like, it just does. You can see it. You can see Mercedes is starting to figure out what's wrong with their car. And you can see the Red Bull will be back. They will. They may not be as strong as they were in 2023, but they're going to be back. And we're going to have something there, which is going to be awesome. And then you're going to sprinkle in Norris as well, and Lewis Hamilton, and Charles Leclerc. It's going to be great.
Wow. I love it.